Hello, my name is Charles Lincoln, and I'll be doing a presentation on sales and use tax in the United States. As a bit of background, I'll be talking about how U.S. State sales tax works, but just as a bit of background, there is no federal sales tax, and these are only imposed by states. And this is also interesting to note that there's a dynamic between the federal system and the state system. The federal system imposes a system of income tax and business tax, and then the states can also assess their own business and income taxes. Now, you can compare different states. For example, New York has a 6.5% income tax, and Texas has a no income tax and no corporate income tax. But on the other hand, Texas's minimum income tax sales tax is higher than New York's minimum sales tax. Going on, it's important when talking in the context of sales and use tax in the United States to discuss the definition of a person. So, in order to better understand the use and sales taxes, it's important to go over a few definitions. That is, not just the definition of a person. The definition of a person is quite complex according to law, but generally includes individuals, partnerships, corporations, and any other group of combination acting as a unit. Now, the definition of tangible property is any personal property which may be seen, weighed, measured, lifted, or touched in any manner perceptible by the senses. This includes toys, books, shop, paper, computers. Now, a lot of states have this exact wording: Michigan, Louisiana, South Carolina, California, Arizona, Tennessee, Delaware, and others have very similar wording to this. And then it's key to understand what a sale is. A sale is considered as any transfer of title or possession of tangible personal property for consideration, regardless of when the payment is received. An example of a sales is event. Okay, a retailer is a seller who makes any retail or sale of tangible property, and every person engaged in the business of making retail sales at an auction tangible. If a nonprofit, yeah, so that's a sale. A consumer is anyone who acquires goods. Um, yeah. A sales tax definition. There's three types of sales tax: retail sales, seller privileges, and gross receipts. Here's an example of a sales tax in action. Resident in State A purchases $30,000 worth of goods, pays $1,200 in sales tax, which is at a 6.5 rate. Um, you you uh, so you multiply that by 6,200. Yeah. And the reason you do this is to itemize retail sales tax. The scope of it imposed only once during the entire chain of events, from starting point where the goods are manufactured and culminating with the eventual sale to the retail customer. It excludes sales for resales. So basically, it only happens here at this green point. The sale is taxed here. A use tax is imposed on the possession, use, storage, or consumption of tangible personal property or services within the taxing jurisdiction. The same rate as the sales tax. Tax imposed on the consumer. Consumer owns and pays the tax due on items purchased without payment of sales tax. Tax is measured by the purchase price. Out-of-state retailers engage in business another state must collect to pay the use imposed on customers. You have your gross receipts and the selling price to measure. Sales tax are imposed on the retailer or the person selling the goods. The seller reports and pays the sales tax due on the items that are sold at retail. The tax is measured on the gross receipts of the sales. For instance, if use tax, on the other hand, is a tax imposed on the consumer rather than the retailer. So, just to confirm, sales tax is imposed on the retailer. The seller reports and pays the taxes due. The tax is measured on the gross receipts. On the other hand, tax imposed on the consumer is a use tax. If your organization purchases an item for use, such as stationery, that item is subject to use tax. If you purchase tangible personal property on the internet and do not pay tax on it in California, you owe use tax on that purchase. So any questions? What do you think is the difference with the EU VAT? What do you think is the similarity of use tax with EU VAT charges?